Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. We are going to talk of Akhand Rishi, the highest Rishi, who understand all the five senses and special senses to be in tune with universal consciousness. This is very important because we normally believe that only five senses can see the external world within the limited spectrum. But I do believe from my consciousness that we can extend the spectrum to such a high level that we can be in tune with Akash, Kosh and know all the secrets of past, present and future of the core values as defined by nature in the light of Divyang to the best of my ability, and that is exactly what I've been trying to do. Now, when I talk of Akhand Rishi, normally we know Indian Brahman Parampara talks of Rishis, Maharishis and Brahma Rishis. Maharishi is a research scholar. Maharishi is a master in that one particular subject, and Brahma Rishi is the one who is in tune with Nirala-Nirgun-Brahman, Sakar Sargun Brahman. But when I talk of Akhand Rishi, is the one who knows almost everything, all the 64 arts in one concept. This concept is beautifully given in Katha when we are talking of two souls, one enjoying, one just observing. But I see the same beauty in this particular picture. You have a horse with five senses, which represents the human body. Then you have Arjuna, who is connection of Jivatma with Antaratma as the one who can be a perfect human being, perfect warrior in one particular field as such. I can call Arjuna as Rishi, maybe even call Maharishi. Then you have Lord Krishna, whom I call Paramatma, the God, who talks of higher consciousness like Gita or Adi Prashakti or for that matter Gayatri. The higher forms also are in tune with that. So Lord Krishna represents the Jivatma, Antaratma as Paramatma, all the three in one, and that is Tret Pravidya which I am talking about. I, having experienced all the three souls within my body, I've been able to understand my physical body completely. I'm able to understand solar system completely. I'm able to see spiral galaxy completely. I can even comprehend Mahabrahman to the best of my ability and give the world what is known as the perfect divine design of nature, Divyang, recognized, conceived and revealed for the first time in 2015, not before that. And I do know I'm only a student, I continue to be a student and I don't want to be seen anything more than a student. And I'm just learning how beautiful was the whole universal consciousness as designed. And reflection of that can be seen in Vedas, Upanishads and many other scriptures of the world. What I have understood in the light of modern sciences is what I am representing step by step as a pleasure for myself, that how beautiful is inheritance we got from divine nature. We are the greatest creation. Brahman Pranam is one, and we are the only one who can be perfect from one to exact and show the world that perfection is one knowledge which the world should have it. From that I have written the concept of Akhand Yoga of 10 stages, which Patanjali talked about Ashtanga Yoga, 8 stages, but I have added 2 of Chakra Yoga, Kundalini Yoga plus Antar Yoga to make it complete, that I am in tune with my Antaratma within my ventricles. I am also in tune with Gayatri, Brahman and also Adi Prashakti, Mahabrahman. And these concepts I have put into 30 pages in lines in this particular thing. The first step which I have used is Yam, which means truth, non-violence, honesty, merit and great character like Brahmacharya. Niyams are the disciplines which is purity, contentment, austerity, study and divine surrender. Vivek is the art and science of divine discrimination like Swam, the vehicle of Goddess Saraswati. Goddess Saraswati and Swan are two things which have taught me what to be Vivek, discrimination. Vairag has been taught to me by Dharma that whatever may be, it is divine and I should only use it to the best of my ability, earn through my education, hard work and things like that. And asmita is not the ego, but self-esteem. I know what I've done is perfectly fine. Yeah, I'm self-sufficient, I'm self-dependent and self-realized. And talk about it honestly without pointing fingers at anybody. No comparison whatsoever, no ahankar, no ego at all. Ichha mritu, freedom from fear of death, a death at will, is something which I do believe is possible once you understand that your soul has come through the head and you should leave through the hole. If you can do that at the time when you think your work is done, you want to leave the world as such. You should be in a position till such time. You should be as perfectly healthy, wealthy and wise as you want to be. Then come to the Smriti, memory. Many people think it's a bondage in the life, but I do know it's a great asset because having made certain mistakes, we should not repeat that mistake again. So to remove that is the reason why all the 100 billion neuron cells, with each having 20,000 memory synapses, is never replaced. It has a nucleus but not cytoplasm. This is also something which I realized. Then you should have all the yogasanas to make your body adequate exercise to strengthen physical body. Unless until you are physically very healthy, emotionally stable, mentally powerful, spiritually integrated, you can't make use of human life. So yogasanas play a very important role, come what may. You cannot be lazy, come what may. No, Thomas. Pranayam. The science of effortless, natural, slow breathing is absolutely essential. You should breathe as low as possible. The animals which breathe slow live longer. That is an effort to make pranayam perfect, effortless and without any complaint or constraint of any nature within the breathing technique at all. Even at 70, 80, 90, 100, you should breathe as comfortably when you are in your youth itself. Pranava, the experience of Om chanting, and during the breathing you have to experience. As you breathe in and breathe out, is hum, sa, so, hum, so, pranava to Om goes like that. If you are able to experience the movement of Om, A at the abdomen, pelvic level, U at the chest level, Ma at the head level, and Turiya beyond that, if you can experience the movement of breath and its sound with A, U, Ma, Akara, Yukara, Makara, and Turiya, that means you are in tune with universal consciousness, then only you can say you are close to being Akhand Rishi. Then Panchabhutas are the external five senses which should be equivalent to experience. Annamaya Kosh, Pranamaya Kosh, Manomaya Kosh, Vijnanamaya Kosh, things like that. Then you should also have a Pratyahara, withdraw the senses from the external world. And then you should be in a position to come inside and see the Panch Pranas within that. Annamaya is outside, within that is Pranamaya, within that is Manomaya, within that Vijnanamaya, there is this, and within that is Antaratma. That is required. And Pratyahara you withdraw. Then you go to Dhyana to create a stage of Dharana, a shield around the field of mental energy so that mind does not go. You withdraw, then you have the energy as Dharana, then create a Dhyan concentration for a longer time in any subject. Unless until you eliminate all the deficiencies in the whole process of Samadhi, you cannot come to a stage of Atma at all. So Ashtang, right up to Samadhi, is the concept which has been spoken beautifully by Maharishi Patanjali and is lovely. Then you call this Samprajanita, mean complete integration of the ideas and thought. Nirvitark, then you will not feel the need to understand reasoning. You have complete Vichardhara completely. Then you understand the concept very clearly. You come to the emptiness and then go. This is one thing which I do know. There are 10 minimum stages of level. First you start with the subject. You understand the subject completely. Then you come to empty stage. Then you go to the next stage. Similarly, I have understood there are 10 chakras. Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Nabhi, Usha, Anhata, Vishuddhi, Agnya, Vigyan, Pragyan and Sahasra. And all the 10 stages, we go through 3 stages. 1, realizing it, experiencing it, and then come to complete elimination. And then you can go to the next stage. This evolution takes at least minimum 22 different levels. to reach the highest level of concentration. That is what I have spoken about. Then you should come to Nirvichar. Now you know everything. You don't need to do that. Then you come to a very natural space, Sabhij Samadhi. Then you get a Nirbhij Samadhi. And only then the Kundalini will rise. Once Kundalini starts rising, it starts ascending through the back chakras to the head. That is ascending it through back chakras and descending from Sahasrara to Muladhara in front. That chakral yoga, Kundalini yoga, has to be experienced. With that you realize that inside there are about 10 plus chakras only. And then the Kundalini should move from Muladhara chakra, breaking Brahma Granthi into Brahma Nadi, which is central canal of the cervical canal, then get into the ventricles so that the Atma can be seen by the pineal gland, and you realize that you have reached the innermost consciousness of human body. Then only if you become a perfect human being, then you realize that you are made of atoms, elements, molecules, compounds, cells, tissues, everything, and everything is at your beck and call. You will never fall sick thereafter, because one thing which is going will automatically well taken. That's the time you realize the beauty of homeostasis at that particular state. External world, internal will become completely one. Then only then your activation of the outer layers of 3 neocortex of the things come. And then you can be in tune with Akash Kosh. And in the process you will be able to understand data, Agyan, Gyan, Vigyan, Pragyan or Akhandata step by step. And once you come to that stage, all the 64 arts are at your fingertips, and you can talk, understand each concept as an integrated one. And that can happen only when you understand the core. And over these 60 odd years of my work, I have realized the core is Devyank, first stage of creation 22-21, 10 stage of development, and Shiva. And this is realized when you come to Akhand Yoga's last part. You become Akhand Rishi and you become one with universal consciousness, and this work is a reflection of that step by step to the world as such. Now, as I told you, external manifestations are Annamaya Kosh, then outside Pranamaya Kosh, Manomaya Kosh, Vijnanamaya Kosh, Anandamaya Kosh. Then you have Taittiriya Upanishad talks about sit inside. Annamaya is outside, within that is Pranamaya, there is a Manomaya Kosh, then Vijnanamaya Kosh, Anandamaya Kosh, then there is a Guhyam, and there is Atma within that. Once Taittiriya Upanishad is understood, you know external and internal, and these are the 10 stages which I am talking about. Akhand Rishi are special senses we should understand. Now, very clear. 5 senses with a limited range, all the human being can do. But once you are in tune with Akash Kosh, you become an Akhand Rishi. You can have all the 10 at your beck and call. I would say even 11, 10 plus. Once you have that, you and your universal consciousness one as such. And having understood, only then you can be in tune with universal consciousness. The real divine nature is understood. And that essence is Divyank and Akhandata. Now comes the Akhand Rishi, as I told you. Annamaya Kosh is outside, within that is Pranamaya, within that Manomaya, this is Vijnanamaya, this is Anandamaya, then is Guhyam, Antaratma, and also the awareness of Paramatma. So you have Jivatma, Antaratma, Paramatma, all the three. Tret Pravidya, and that is what Akhand Rishi is. Only Akhand Rishi is able to understand all the special senses, gross as a subtle at beck and call. And that is this particular subject to be discussed in detail. And I am doing this last 1 month. 1 hour is only in one sitting you have a totally integrated information as such. But I know from Vijayadashmi I am going to come back to a limited it, because people have been saying that it's very difficult to hold on for 1 month, 1 hour plus. We'll make it shorter, much more comprehensive, but then you have to see many more videos in the process. But if you want to look at one, it's done. But I'm sure when I go from Vijayadashmi, I'll take a smaller one, but link together same thing and step by step, so that you know how the universe started, how it is done during, later, and how a new Mahagranth for the world in a very comprehensive, much more detailed than ever. This is for everyone to understand spiritual science completely, to understand medical science completely, to be a perfect human being. It's going to come from Vijayadashmi on this time. From 12th October 2014 onwards, you're going to see a new Mahagranth totally in a much higher classified form than you can even dream of doing it. Never happened, it is going to happen. Now, my dharma is impeccable wisdom, I have already told you. My greatest discovery is Divyank, I have already told you. In the light of these two, we are going to proceed further. Now, as I told you, my prime objective being a doctor as a human being is a perfect physical health. Wealth, wisdom, happiness in everything in totality is what I have been speaking about. But the reasons are we can't even fight disease-free life. Why we cannot, I can understand. Now I am 73 plus, but I am now experiencing the reverse of aging. At 73 plus, my biophysical parameters as perfect as when I was 21. Maybe I'm better than I have experienced life all through. All the constraints, restraints like I had experienced earlier, they have become history. Now I am one much higher and higher, and thanks to the knowledge which I experienced since my young days has helped me to experiment systematically, keeping Divyank in mind, just with the food control, exercise, meditation and tapasya, and to become a perfect human being for the entire world as such. For me, everyone is worshipper. I have nothing against anybody, and just do that. Because we are like gods, let's work like gods, and let's do everything unity of it. Let's not divide and rule the world the way we want. And maybe that's the reason God has given me Divyank, given me new symbolic language, given me everything without me doing anything. As a matter of fact, I have gone on record to say, on spiritual science you have to do nothing. For everything else you have to do because you're doing unnatural thing. Here you are being tuned with universal consciousness, and universal consciousness will never let you make mistake. And that is, and in the process when you are into Antaratma and Paramatma, you will never make a mistake because they will tell you this is done, this is not to be done. To analyze, eliminate all the deficiencies is the work of Antaratma, whether it's helium-4, neon-21 or argon-40. That is, now I am bringing everything to the scientific level, mathematically conclusive. And it is done only because I am perfect, and my intention is only to become perfect and write a Mahagranth for the entire universe, which is there for everybody to make the universe as a Satyug once again. Maybe I have come to the end of Kali Yuga, and rising of Satyug could be with this. Anyway, I am happy that whatever it is, I am doing it well. Now, the five senses which are very, very important. First thing is Akash Bhuta, and that is with the sound. So Shruti is the first science of direct hearing which are content in the Akash Bhuta, and impeccable wisdom is Shruti. Nature has everything perfect in Akash Kosh, Akash Bhuta, Akash wisdom, and I have got everything directly heard as such through the medium of my Antaratma, Helium or Aditi alone, or Kundalini. Now, all Ved mantras, all called Shruti, because they, Rishis, heard those sounds from the universal consciousness. Even today, science is realizing the sound which comes from universe, or Atma, if they are going to be very precise, if they can bring it to one, they said it is Om only. Om again, A, U, Ma, Ti. Akara, Yukara, Makara and Turiya. And that is the sound. That and other mantras like Tat sound, Tat also is a very good mantra. Savitri is also a mantra. Gayatri is a mantra. All the Vedas, Rigveda is full of mantras only. And those who can be in tune with universal consciousness, you will be able to hear those sounds. Every sound from universe which nobody is doing it. You become a receptor of the highest quality, transmitted millions and millions kilometers away. But you can easily hear as if it is just next to you spoken. And that is what I am talking about, Shruti. Once you have a Shruti, your spectrum is so beautiful, I can assure you, your temporal region will have predominant alpha frequency with eyes open and eyes closed. And this is also experienced then. And I have given the second video as a Divyank Dhvani, which can integrate our inner consciousness with the power which will make you in tune with your body as a sacral parasympathetic predominance, no sympathetic but cranial parasympathetic, and put you in tune with universal consciousness. That's the beauty. Now, and we can test that with the cancer electroencephalogram, EEG, and I am able to produce 8 Hz frequency throughout the brain with eyes open, which no one in the world has ever done. This is what I am trying to talk about it. And then, as I told you, Akash Kosh is a Schumann resonance field, which is ionosphere, where all the information of the universe, past, present and future, is represented there in an ionic form. And let me again remind you, what is ionic form? You have atoms which are stable. Once the electron moves out, it becomes a positive. Then the electron comes in, it becomes negative. That's the difference between acidic and alkaline nature. But the spectrum in Akash Kosh or Schumann resonance were 3. The one which is close to the earth is 7.3, between is 14.1, and outer is 2.3. You can see this picture very clearly. So I am very clear. You should produce alpha frequency of 7.83 to 8.73. It's the ideal situation which to be in tune with this particular thing which is close to earth. We are on the cloth, we should have this particular frequency in our brain to be in tune with ionosphere of Schumann resonance, which relates to the human consciousness or earth consciousness by and large. Now, as I told you, human brain is the most evolved, but unfortunately neuroscientists of the world do not even know the details of this. They know right up to 4th layer of neocortex. 1st, 2nd and 3rd, they do not know what is the function. But I know this function is the antenna to the Akash Kosh. I can see as a result I am able to produce 8 Hz frequency throughout the brain with open eyes, with a working mind, with all full consciousness. And that is Shruti is all about. And it's recorded in temporal plus all the things as such. Now, Shruti is the science of direct hearing. In the hearing you can see the anatomy of the head and other thing, but you can see the transmission, how it takes place in the middle ear and how sound is carried from the ears to the temporal lobe. You can see in the picture. I'm not going to go in detail. It is there for you to see at a later date. Maybe when I go to the next stage, then I would talk in detail in each everything. Smaller bit, maybe much more elaborate. Then effect of music with Divyank was experimented in 2009. I designed it, I edited it with the help of rendering was done by a friend of mine, Pandit Janardhan Mita, in a studio. He did that and I had given him the design. Then I did the editing to get to the tune with it could reduce, and it was used for subject and experienced old people living in homes with diabetes, hypertension, other problems, and with the respect to this particular thing we could produce temporal lobe, predominant alpha coherent frequency, much better with eyes open than eyes closed, not seen in occipital region. And that is because that emphasis on the sound is not on light. So effect should be only on temporal region, not in occipital region. And that is also something which was part of my research work. With the help of that whole music design, EEG was my concept, and I'm glad my student agreed. We worked together as a joint venture. We produced the results phenomenal. Now people can enjoy the beauty of 22 minutes of Divyank Dhwani, which is there in the second one. Just listen to that. The music itself do the wonders. You have to do nothing. Just listen. And with eyes closed, eyes open, or just play it around whenever you are doing work. The music will do the job. It is not something your concentration. And I don't want anybody to consider. Let the music do the job, and I can tell you it's a phenomenal. Now comes to the next stage of Divya Drishti, the divine light, clairvoyance. First is clairaudience, now this is clairvoyance. In the praise, they mean this light, you can see things. But one thing which I want everybody to understand from my experience, this is my experience, and I do know I am able to see people behind my back. That means the field of vision, which is normally restricted to 90 degrees, it is extended up to 108 degrees in me. Anyone comes close to me, I can see that, experience that, and feel that. And that is what has made me Divya Drishti more prominent. And I can tell you, I have experienced that. Skin cells can visualize aura because they have the common origin of skin, eyes with the nervous system is from ectoderm. And I'm just trying to say science not as a philosophy come whatsoever. That is Divya Drishti. Now the question in this particular picture, you can see the eyes are designed in such a way the length and breadth is in Brahmank issue of 22 by 21. Then you have 10 stages of retina is also Divyank. But you can see in the picture the field of spectrum in my case is much more. So I can see that over a period, looking in front, I can see things on the back, and whole spectrum goes on both the sides so much that nobody can fool me. And even for driving, I don't need, I'm able to see that simultaneously, anything going that. And that happens only when you are a fully spectrum with a higher consciousness, and that happens only when you are perfect from every angle. And you are not in any drugs and anything which is unnatural. If you are naturally with sattvic food, without alcohol, smoking, drinking, anything you can do. And this is the result of that. Then, as I told you, divine design of human is also 10. And these are 10 layers which I have given. You can read it leisurely as you move on. Then, as I told you, there is something which is very important is pupillary reflex and accommodation reflex. Accommodation reflex is what was used in my case during my initiation to focus between the two eyebrows, you can see, and right for 22 minutes. And just accommodation itself helped me to experience movement of my Kundalini in upper abdomen, then moving to the left and coming to that side was a phenomenal sight of 22 minutes which has transformed me completely. Without any idea of Tantra Vidya before that, without anything about chakras, nadis and Kundalini before, the first experience, and I would still give accommodation to accommodation reflex, which is so beautifully designed with presence of oculomotor nerve itself, because both the nerves bring it together, the medial cells, and I have explained in this picture, this is designed by me way back, and I want everybody to see it beautifully. The concept is very clear in that both as a pupillary reflex as well as convergence of the eye. That is what is required with an open mind to use it to be in with universal consciousness. Once you are able to do inside, your field would increase at the same time. Now, there is something which I always say, India is a perception. When you get up in the morning after bath and puja and prayers, offer water to Lord Surya Aditya. It's called Lord Aditya Arigya. And I can tell you, this is one of the best way to produce vitamin D3 within the body. Because the morning light is ultraviolet. And that's the reason when you say, along with you chant Gayatri Mantra at that stage, you will be literally offering to Brahmani Gayatri and Surya, and you will get vitamin 3. You will get all the things you are looking for to be a perfect as far as calcium concentration itself is concerned. So advantages is a phenomenal. So in ancient Indian ritualism is a class of the highest based on the observation of people over thousands and thousands of years, and they knew very exactly what they are doing it, and they were having special superlative higher consciousness by and large. We should learn from others, and I think I have learned, I do it, I continue to enjoy. That's it. Then, as I told you, this particular concept of Kundalini chakras, Antar-Yoga has brought me to internalization, has given me an experience within 4 years of initiation in 91 to 95. the transition to see the aura, movement of chakras, nadis and other things, and then internalization and go to that stage within 4 years was a phenomenal experience which made me understand Deviant completely. And all the realization thereafter, symbolic and otherwise, started only after 95. But this realization of 10 stages of Akhand Yoga, and based on that research into PhD work and producing, has been a phenomenal thereafter. And of course, as I told you, EEG with closed eyes is 8.5 Hertz. You can see the alpha throughout. With open eyes, it is 8 Hertz. And that is the one which I talked about, 7.83 Hertz to 8.73. Both are within that particular range only. 8.5 is less than 8.73 and 8 is little more than 7.83. So it's a phenomenal picture of what Schumann also talked about it, inner consciousness, and I also talk about Akash Kosh, I also talk about ionosphere, I also talk about record of past, present, which some people call it Akash recordings. Now, spirituality and science are falling together. You need an experience and you should have a scientific approach at the same time. And that's it. Now come to the third thing, it's called sparsh or touch. First we talked about hearing. Second we light. And sparsh is with the Vayu. Akash Kosh to Agni to Vayu. These are higher concepts altogether. These are Panch Koshas, Akash Bhuta, Vayu and Agni. Three have spoken about. Now sparsh is with Vayu Bhuta. Now, as I told you, way back in 1992 itself, I experienced the movement of Shunya around me. The Shunya inside became Shunya outside. I could see it. Now I can understand how beautiful it was. But when I explained that to the teacher, he said, please don't tell others, they'll think you are gone mad. That is something which I really feel bad. My genuine experience is considered madness. That's the reason I know schizophrenia, split personality, many of the psychosomatic disorders, people are genuine, but they are not in a position to explain and they are drugged and made into vegetable. Thank God I was a medical doctor. I knew very well there's nothing wrong with me. Although the doctor did teach me to take tranquilizers in 84, which was much before this, and this also said don't. I said no, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm perfectly fine. I'm not going to take drugs. I'm not going to kill myself. Power, mind is powerful. This experience is the beginning. Now I know India gave zero, Shunya from before the creation itself. And this was experience confirmed. This is how you start your journey. And that journey was way back in 92 itself. And how zero came first, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 came after that. Then zero went on multiplying. So zero was the one which was experienced by people of India, Akhand Bharat, even before the creation. That is Shunya. And white Arya representation, that experience gave me that we knew Shunya was zero. But we didn't talk about it, as I know. Many people don't even understand Vedas, Upanishads or not. They think infancy of civilization, when I know this is the one which gave me the scientific knowledge to give Divyang to the world. It is not infancy. I'm not going to criticize anyone, but now I'm going to share in the light of Divyang how I unfolded that step by step as an autobiographical description thereafter. Now, this is the development, 3 phases. Ectoderm, the one which is responsible for aura. Then this is stage which I already spoken about it. And then you can skin, and skin receptors are as sensitive as eyes and the nervous system as such. Very sensitive. And you have different forms of receptors in this. You can have sparsh of touch, pain, which is otherwise. You can see right at the 4 types of receptors there, which in pressure receptors, fine touch, pain, temperature you can hear. And of course the neurons are the 100 billion cells, and each one can 20. Imagine the power which brain has, and there are also 10 parts of neuron system as such. Now come to the three ascending tracts which go from the back side to take the information from down to up to the brain. So back side of the nervous system is sensory in concept, and information goes up to three parts: occipital, temporal and parietal. The three tracks represent that. But then as descending is two. Now ascending touch goes to the light touch, is you can see in this picture. Then also you have a vibration. You can also the same tract as this, which goes to the opposites, goes to the up to middle of brain, then shift to the opposite side, then go to thalamus, and then go to somatosensory part. But when it comes to the pain and temperature, the signal goes to the same segment of the spinal cord to the opposite side and then goes up. Where the rest of the thing goes up to medulla oblongata and then crossover. But here is the same side, because both are painful. Action might have to be taken completely. That's also I tell my students. Pain and touch come with the two receptors, and it should be in a position to block. But as a doctor, my respect is don't block it. If there is a problem, find the cause and you rectify the cause, you will become perfectly normal, because body has the healing capacity by itself. And I have used myself to rectify myself from problems to no problem, letting the body itself heal through the diet control, exercise, pranayam and meditation by and large. Now come to the, having finished three which are electrical in nature, now we are coming to the two chemical reactions. One is sugandh, fragrance, and suswad is the taste. Both smell is connected with earth element and swad is connected with second jal bhuta. Now, as I told you, symbols of five. Akash Kosh is a pentagon designed for the first time. Then Vayu is electrical or hexagon, which was known. Agni is a triangle, and Apa is like a crescent, and Prithvi is like round should have been, but converted into square, or you can even say whole concept of rotating, like your swastik symbol, it is there. Now, pathway of smell is from the nose right up to go to olfactory cortex. You can read it leisurely. This gives you the sense of perception of smell, independent as such, as a chemical energy for which water plays very important role. The mucous membrane with water content without any block, mucus, you can smell it very, very clearly. But if it is water is not enough, it is dry and there is infection, there is a block, you will not be able to smell. But I can tell you, if you can get rid of this, you can smell fragrance even from a distance as good as you could want to be. It's like a sandalwood could be your inner smell itself. And that I have experienced it, I know it. Then both tongue and tissue and smell also have to get. Anterior tongue is 61.8% is related to the good taste. Posterior 38.19 is for the bitter, meant for vomiting. And all the different senses can be tasted, front, bitter and back. Bitter is by glossopharyngeal, front is by facial, and that's it. And that is also beautiful design of Devyang playing very, very important role over there. Then both smell and taste are also closely associated. If the smell is fine, taste is fine, you can enjoy a beautiful cup of coffee. Fragrance by and large. And this association is a beautiful example I've already explained earlier, one by one, in many of the things. Once you are able to experience correlation of chemical energy of Vayu, Agni and Jal is electrical, Prithvi and Jal by and large are chemical. And these two play important role in this particular concept. And once you keep the water of 61.8% and without any block, you can enjoy sugandhs as well as taste at the highest order, living wherever, which can lead to a perfectly healthy physical health all the one. For physical health, sattvic food, kapha dosha, these two elements are very, very important. And once you have that, you add certain ingredients which Ayurveda I talked about it to cut short the kapha dosha and take yourself nirgun nirdosh level, and then only your higher concentration or superlative special senses take emerge. That is where clairvoyance, clairaudience, sugandh, etc. emerges, and then you are one with universal consciousness. You can experience the entire universe within your body itself, and that is what Veds and Upanishads are talking about. The day you can experience the language of atoms, elements, molecules, compounds, cells within your physical body, only then you can enjoy the universal consciousness within you. And once that is done, you become a Akhand Rishi, then you will be in tune with universal consciousness, then only you will be in a position to understand Divyank itself. And I am making it very clear. Having done that, I know. Now other people with that light, if they can now reverse with Divyank and rectify things, you will also become as perfect and go beyond me as we move on. That is my objective of sharing this from my experience, that everybody, now having spent all the five senses by and large, let's move on to the next one. Now I am making it very clear, the person in whose all the Panchbhutas are clear, Panch Koshas are clear, Panch Jnanam clear, Panch Karma clear, only that person will have a divine sleep, whatever it is. That is reticular formation in the brainstem. You can see the picture very clearly in this particular thing. Now, science of sleep, a state of unconsciousness from which a person can be easily aroused by sensory or other stimuli. Sleep is an unconscious state, but person can be easily aroused by giving them some sensory comfort. It's not dead, it's not completely that way. In sleep, the person is unaware of the environment and can do duties that require consciousness. Person will not be able to do the duties which require consciousness. In sleep, you are unconscious of the external internal environment by and large for homeostasis. During sleep, the impulse transfer becomes less frequent between reticular formation and the cortex. Information is not going from lower part to the higher plate as such. There are certain blocks, but signal continues to be there at subconscious level, unconscious level, and that is the role of reticular formation. As you can see in this particular picture, is very clear how scientifically it has been said, and I am making it very clear. I am a scientist, outright trained medical doctor, excellent in maths, physics, chemistry, biology, and all the 64 arts. I am able to comprehend, and I am trying to give the comprehension in the light of science, which is perfect, but not the one which is defective. I do agree. Most of the information which is taught from school, college to university is defective, and I am challenging that. That is man-made concepts. We'll talk of Divyank and rewrite the whole thing once again with Divyank in mind. Now, when this particular thing goes up, information goes up, the ascending, descending reticular formation becomes active. The entire nervous system with the lower nervous system becomes one part. And that is the reason when everybody else is talking about 7 chakras, Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Nabhi, Anhata, Vishuddhi, Agnya and Sahasrara, which are 7 outside. And I am talking about 10 plus 3, 4 chakras within the body. I am able to do only because I am in tune with inner consciousness, where ascending, descending reticular formation integrates my higher brain to the lower brain. As a result, I am able to understand things of higher chakras like anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary, brainstem, midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, hypothalamus, thalamus, and higher centers of brain, including 3 outer neocortex. I have been able to experience A to 1 separately, and this is what has helped me to understand that 5 senses would become much better once this system is fully active, you can switch it on and switch it off. This is one of the very relevant part of the Kundalini Yoga or Chakral Yoga by and large. To experience the within insight, go to Dharana, to Dhyan, to Samadhi, and then go to complete integration, Akhandata, is something you have to work to experience. This knowledge is required for you to take the pathway. I can assure you, you have nothing to worry as long as you are perfect and do systematically step by step. Without a proper theoretical knowledge, you cannot do any experiment. People have not been able to do it. They didn't have the knowledge. Now that you have the knowledge, it's easy for everybody to build on. Now let's move on to the next stage. Divine sleep has given me the results of Akhand Yoga much better. As I told you, Yama are the 5 virtues, Niyams are the 5 disciplines, Yogasana physical exercise, Pranayam the yogic breathing, Pratyahara withdrawal of senses, Dharana is creating a mental sheet around the territory of the mind, then pinpoint concentration, even state of the mind, then awakening of Antar-Yoga, and then internalization to that. And these things can lead to finally 3 parinamas: Nirodha parinama, Ekagrata parinama, and Samadhi parinama. I am glad to admit that Patanjali has spoken about 3 stages 3000 back. But if you read those 3 stages of Nirodha, Ekagrata, and Samanta, I can tell you, you can understand alpha spindles beautifully, that he had the experience of alpha spindle within the brain and he spoke about it. And now we are trying to understand this alpha spindle is the one which is the consciousness of Akash, Kosh by and large. And I think now spirituality is taking the science, and Patanjali has spoken about it 3000 years ago. And now as a scientist, I am showing to the world that he is talking about alpha spindles of 8 Hz or 7.8 to 8.73 frequency, coherent and predominant throughout the brain with eyes open. This is where I see, when you talk about Patanjali, you say Pratyahara, withdraw the senses. But withdraw senses does not to mean close eyes. Your sense is removed, but eyes are open, ears are open. Don't use Shambhaki Mudra. See the whole world, but your world is not disturbing you. Once you have that concentration, that can happen only when you are in tune with your Antaratma. Indriya to Man to Buddhi to intuition to Antaratma is one sequence. With Antaratma is seeing, then you will not at all disturbed. That is what will take you to this particular stage one by one, and you are in tune with universal consciousness, and you are in predominant 8 Hz frequency throughout the brain with eyes open itself. Then, as I told you, the 4 stages which are very clear. Beta is disturbed sleep, which is from 12 Hz frequency. I would put even gamma into the state which is more in the external world, which is disturbed, which is with waking consciousness. But when come to alpha, you are in Turiya consciousness. You are in tune with Akash Kosh. And if you have 8 to 8.5 Hz, you are fantastic. But when you go to theta stage, is the transition from waking stage to going to deep sleep. So this is a transition sleep in which I would say Swapna happens, a dreaming consciousness. Dreaming is theta. When you go deep sleep is Sushupta or deep sleep consciousness. Beta is waking consciousness. Alpha is Turiya. So you have literally come to realize Om within that. You have the deep sleep, you have dreaming, you have waking consciousness, and you also have the universal consciousness. And universal consciousness, alpha of 8 Hz, 1. As I told you, you can see down. I am able to produce that with eyes open throughout the brain, which no one in the world has ever done till late. And I can assure you, if I can do it, everyone can do it. And as a result, you will be in the universal consciousness. You will be able to give the world the kind of detailed data, information, knowledge, perfection from A to Z, to bring uniform syllabus for all the students as uniform. That will be the greatest contribution for any individual to the entire world to rise and become all perfect human beings who think as one as peace. And that is Satyug which I am talking about. That's it. Now, Kan Shriya is something which I have brought it, and one concept which I do know everybody should understand. That means effect of one life's working is put in orbits around helium-4 itself. Antaratma is helium-4, Aditi, which is produced in the sun, comes back. And that is what enters into the human body in 22 weeks of gestation and takes over the charge to make the perfect human being. And all the experiences of every life is surrounded in this Antaratma of helium-4 as orbit after orbit. Each orbit would have the symbols or passwords of that particular life. And if you are in tune with Kan Sharira, the 10 sheets of this, you can be a very in tune with Akash Kosh, your past lives, what you have learned thousands and thousands of years back. You will become as if it was done just yesterday. I have experienced that within me, and that is what I have already explained. And maybe from Vijayadashmi on that, maybe in detail I am going to talk about it in much more depth in a smaller one, because everybody is asking me to make a smaller one. But I am of the opinion, unless until you have the entire picture as a comprehended one, it's not possible. But if the world feels that should make a smaller one, and they're going to see each one by one at their own pace, it is their choice. I have no issues at all. Now, as I told you, Aditi, Aditya and Aditi is a concept which goes back to the thing. Vedas talk that Daksha is the king of gods. His mother is Aditi, his daughter is Aditi. But that statement of Vedas has not been understood. And also Upanishads say Aditi is the mother and daughter of Aditya, that has been. Now I am trying to explain that when you talk of Aditya, it is hydrogen. When you take Aditi, is helium-4. And this information goes on in the sun at 6000 degrees centigrade in the core. How hydrogen is converted into 4 into helium and helium into this. The reverse process of proton-proton nucleation in the core of the sun, which is this. And once you understand fission and fusion, you understand Aditi as a mother, Aditi as a daughter of Aditya. I think the science has helped me to understand Ved and Upanishad statement much more clearly. All that statement is 10,000 years ago. But it's a modern science, this particular experiment has shown me that this is what they're talking about. And that is what I'm talking about, bridging together of ancient Indian wisdom of the highest order, which were unknown till date, to make it known in the light of modern science. Once that is done, dichotomy is gone, and we will be in a position to move on to higher levels of understanding step by step in a much better way. I think that is spirituality, spiritual science I want. I don't want it to be made religious. It is only a concept of higher consciousness and lower consciousness in the light of modern sciences, with the perfect divine design of mathematics, perfect laws of physics, chemistry, biology and otherwise. Not with a philosophy. Nothing which cannot be concluded mathematically has no relevance in science at all. Mother of divine nature is mathematics. Mother of sciences is mathematics. Conclusive design has to be mathematical conclusive, and that mathematical design is Divyang. First stage of creation is 22 by 21, I have explained, 10 stage development, and last stage. And once that stage, then we will find science and spirituality coming together as one and showing the world what it is all about. Then, as a result, Baharang Koshas of Kundalini you can experience, which is solid matter, vital breath, mind, intelligence and bliss, which is called Annamaya Kosh, Pranamaya Kosh, Manamaya Kosh, Vigyanmaya. You can experience all one outside 5 sheets, then inside 5 sheets, and then you can see the Antaratma in Brahma Nadi. Say Shushmana Nadi, within that Brahma Vani Nadi, within that Surya Nadi, within the Chandra Nadi, then you have Brahma Nadi, which is central canal, and within that Atma goes to the ventricle. You have experienced Antar Yoga. You understand all the 10 sheets of Kundalini orbits completely. Once this is there, you are at a much higher level of understanding one by one. Now, I am showing the same Antaryog with the respect to the part of the spinal cord. Ida and Pingala are the two chains of sympathetic system, but Sushumna is vertebral column. Within the vertebral column, you have the Vani Nadi, which is subdural space. Then you have white matter, which is Suryan. Then you have grey matter, which is Chandran. Then you have a central canal, which is Brahmanadi. And then vacant is the ventricles. So now I'm showing with the evidence of the modern science that old description and modern is one and the same thing. And how descriptive they must have been, that it is much easier for me to explain. Even Satchakra Nirupana, this aspect was not cleared by anybody else because I do not know. I will not try to go into that, but I am glad that I am able to do it. And now bringing all that together to this particular field is literally a sum of gross, subtle and superconscious level of human mind to be in tune with universal conscious one by one. Once that is understood, you can explain everything of all the special senses, 5 gross and 5 subtle. You can, in quote I would say, extrasensory perception is what sixth sense they talk about it. But extrasensory perception, I would take it to 5 different levels. So 5 plus 1, I will make it 10. And with that only you can be in Akash Kosh, and then only you can learn all the divinity's designs, because you have to be part of it. From book knowledge it does not work. Give you an idea, but unless until you experience the divinity within yourself, you can see the helium 4 within your ventricles, with your pineal gland and occipital region. Only then you will have a conviction, okay, this is what it is. And having done that, in my brain I can see 10 dimensions simultaneously. Most of people are not able to see beyond 3 at all. Length, breadth and depth. Time and space, which Einstein talked about it, relativity. But absolute wisdom is 10 stages. You can see 2 dynamic stages separated from each other, time and space, both moving in so many directions that you can understand that 10 plus things. Even string theory talks of 11, but I can tell you it's 10.334419, which is a precise point which has helped me to realize the real beauty of Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva and Dattatreya put. And this is where I see ancient science and the modern science becoming mathematically conclusive. Having explained that one by one, I think it's enough for the day. It has been very elaborate discussion. It's going to be one of the very few videos I'm going to make of the length. But Vijayadashmi onward it will be different. But let me complete it so that can be referred for the people later when they're looking at comprehensive each unit as such. But of course they're going to see it even much more detail in smaller one. Anyway, I leave the choice to them. So thank you very much. It's been lovely sharing my experience thing. That's again which I make it very clear. I am not a copy of doing of something else. I found all the knowledge not in tune with my experiences. Now, having done the experience, having done studies, having experience within that, I'm talking only from my experience. It's not a copy of anybody. It challenges everything. It challenges the spiritual world. It challenges the modern science world. It talks about, it challenges the man-made mathematics completely, man-made physics completely, man-made this completely. And talks of Divyank, because I have found something consistent which is helping to become a perfect human being by and large, and talk of even reverse of aging and understanding the body has a capacity to rehabilitate every product one by one, and that's it. So I think at that stage this is enough for the day. Thank you very much. We will look forward there. Thank you.